Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by them evil geniuses at Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
The evil empire, we like to call it. Just making waves, and we've got the man that is doing it, Mr. Lee Kjos and Dirk, on the line with us today. We're looking at week 2 of Game Fair coming up, so we figured we'd have you guys on.
Fantastic. Good morning.
We're
glad to be on. Always happy to be on.
We're excited to have you. So Game Fair last weekend, we heard it was just ridiculous. Great turnout. Everybody's fired up, ready to rock and roll.
Yes, fire. It was Saturday. Well, Saturday, at like the first time I ever remember them canceling a few hours, but we had some heavy rain on Friday morning, and Chuck Chuck Delaney, he's the guy that owns it, and he made a call to cancel it, or postpone it till noon. So we kind of thought maybe it would be slower that afternoon, but right when they opened the gates at noon on Friday, it was on fire, and Saturday was the best I've seen it probably in 10 years. And yeah, I think they're ready to go this year for sure.
Lee, real quick, those glasses in front of you, if you'll move them, I think the camera's focusing on them.
What's wrong?
It didn't make a difference. I thought it was going to open it up a little bit there.
Yeah, there we go. That's perfect.
That's a lot better.
Now we can see him.
It was focusing on the glasses a lot.
Look at Jeff making a technical decision. That's savviness. That's savviness, but Jeff.
I have so many skills. Let me tell you something. After I sat down at Squad Fest in the Boss booth and was selling shells, they had to go buy a new bus, the Jeff Stanfield Express. That's how good a salesman I was for them. I have a lot of different coats I wear. So there you go, Andy. So a buddy of mine told me it was as busy at Game Fair as he's ever seen it.
It was busy. It was. Yep, for sure. Saturday was, like I say, and I asked a few other people that had been there a lot, and I asked them what they thought. And a couple of them said, oh, yeah, for sure, the best it's been in 10 years. And Jeff Boyles was there. And, of course, back in the day before he had his trouble there, I mean, he owned that show. And I asked him how it was going for him, and he said it was fantastic again. So that's really, really good to hear.
What do you think is driving all this? Do you think people are do you think COVID is like finally behind us? Like, because they had it last year, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think all the social and political pressure that we went through for the last few years, people are either dying or it's becoming apathy. Like, you hear about monkeypox or whatever that thing is, and you're like, yeah, fuck, whatever, dude. We're going hunting.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
People have had enough. I read an article yesterday that was a lady who was a kindergarten teacher in Chicago, one of the big blue states, and she had kindergarten kids coming in, zero social skills. Mm-hmm. They hadn't been around people for 2.5 years. And that's hard to believe. A kid that age has got 20 to 50% of their life. They haven't been around anybody else. And
that's tough on developmental.
Big time. Okay, Dirk, I got a question for you. Since you're my favorite tattoo artist in the world, and it's not even a tattoo question.
All right, Jeff.
How was Sturgis?
Oh, you know what? That place is awesome. For one, South Dakota, Western South Dakota is gorgeous. It's absolutely one of the most beautiful pieces of land I've seen in these 50 states. And that shocked me. Lots of people, lots of bikes. I don't think I made it into the place where all the wild stuff happens, but it's as American as it's ever been. And what a cool experience for sure.
I'm like you. The first time I went to the Badlands area, I was shocked because every time I'd been through South Dakota, it was nothing but sunflowers and sons of a bitches, as my dad used to say, and that was it. And when I got When I got over there, it is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, unbelievable.
Oh,
Sunflowers and sons of bitches.
So, yeah, a great experience and first year for the Gun Fest. So I think it was a success all the way around.
Did you meet a lot of new hunters there?
I would say no. No, I wouldn't say that. But I would say that Gun Fest is a great idea. And it's the first year, and you kind of get out there and everybody sees like, okay, this is what we have to do next year and the year after that. And I think it's going to be a spectacular event. It just needs, Gunfest needs to be a destination before people leave and get there. And it will be.
Right.
It's a really cool event.
Now, did you get to visit with the most beautiful governor in the United States while y'all were there?
Yes, I did.
Boy,
Yep.
she's a
Not
good-looking
person.
lady.
We talked. We tried to hook up a couple times. And by the way, I'll show you a text message from Christy on like somebody's supposed to be reaching out in regards to your podcast to get her on that. So
Oh, that'll be beautiful.
Well, good. We look forward to having her on.
What?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you're up at.
they are right now because they're all campaigning, right?
Right.
Well, did you see Liz Cheney backed out of the race in Wyoming?
Well, she didn't back out. She conceded
Conceded.
because she was getting.
She got her ass whooped.
Yeah, but I did see where Fox News called that she did win Arizona.
Liz Cheney?
It was a joke, Andy. They were it was a joke. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was a good.
Yeah,
one.
I saw that. Yeah. No, we had a blast last week. And we've talked about music too before, haven't we?
Yeah,
a
lots.
lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, and I actually think we've talked about who my favorite band ever was back in the day when I'd go see live music. And Leonard Skinner was my favorite live band ever, right?
Right.
And after the crash, October 20th in 77, prior to that, I'd seen them 4 times live. After that, I've not only not seen them, I really don't even listen to them any because it bummed me out. But then I would just like, people would say, hey, you want to go see Skinner? And I'm like, no, I don't. I have no interest in seeing him. And they're like, why? I said, well, because it's like a cheap cover band of what they used to be. And no, I don't want to see that. Well, we're out there, and because we were part of Gunfest, we had VIP tickets, and Skinner was playing at the Chip, the iconic Buffalo Chip, right? So we go there, bunch of us.
I think we just lost them.
That's the best part. You're back.
Hey, the phone overheated on us.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
I did not expect that up north.
We're too fucking hot, dude.
You know, our high tomorrow here is only going to be 80 degrees. We may be in the 70s all day here tomorrow.
Oh, that sounds spectacular.
Man, that's an awesome place you got there, Lee.
Thank you.
You went to Skinnerd or a cover band, and you went in Buffalo Chip, and that was the last thing we heard.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know stories how iconic the Buffalo Chip is, but all the big ones played there. Like back in the day, the Brothers played there, and Allman Brothers, and lots of people. Well, anyway, they roll in on their bikes, right? The bikers do. So there was probably like, I don't know, there must have been like 10,000 bikes in there or something. It was just wild. But I hadn't seen Skinner forever, like pre-crash. And I did. I thought they were like just this, like this cheap cover band, no big deal. And well, anyway, we all decided to go, and we went there, and I don't know if you guys remember the album One More from the Road, their first live album. And they start out with working for MCA, the record company. And that's how they started this out. Did I lose you guys again?
No. Andy went to do something real quick. I'm listening to you.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it was just like they came out with their first few notes. And I mean, it sounded just like Skinner back in the day. And the whole show was like that. It was just spectacular fun. Just a blast.
They are an awesome band. You all you ever hear about is, if Kurt Cobain would have been around longer, what he would have done. And what about this? If Ronnie Van Zant would have lasted forever, It wouldn't be who's the greatest band of all time. It would be who's second.
Right. They're awesome live, man, and they are. I mean, Johnny, his brother, is doing a pretty good job, but the rest of them are no slouch. I mean, they're like Skinner. It was really good.
Did you watch the documentary on them on Netflix?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple, two, three of them. Yep. Are you referring to If I Leave Here Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
It was a good documentary.
Yep.
And I watched one that didn't get as much fanfare. They had one on ZZ Top last summer. Did you see it?
Yes,
and
they
it's
did.
very, very good, which I'm a big ZZ Top guy anyways.
Yep.
I had two football coaches used to talk all the when I was in high school, two of our football coaches grew up in the early 70s in Wichita, and they used to talk about there's a little bar called the Kickapoo Cantina, which was outside of Wichita Falls, and ZZ Top used to play there some right before they got really going big, and seeing them as a kid.
Right before Tres Hombres? Yep. Yeah.
And
yeah, that was a great one, too, back in the day when I was listening to Skinner. That album was always part of the mix at parties. You know, everybody liked Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers, and that actually was a tour, I think, back in the summer 76. That might have been Fandango. I can't remember. It was good though, really good.
Dirk, what are your influences in music?
Oh, it's pretty wide. I was a punk rock kid when I was young.
I can see that.
Alternative music through my younger years. I went through a long phase of the classics. I like my funk music. My wife's a musician that travels a lot, so she does the old stuff from Etta James to the old big blues girls, and she's a pretty big powerhouse. She was out there on the dock with us this morning with a guitar.
Now, you said you grew up with punk music. Are we talking like the Dead Kennedys or the Butthole Surfers and them kind of groups?
Yep. Dead Kennedys, Butthole Surfers, Sex Pistols.
The Ramones?
The Ramones, The Cure even. All that stuff.
Cure was a little bit more mainstream, weren't they?
It was, but they wrote some really killer songs that I still really love. It's a little emo, I guess, but that was my youth.
The Butt Surfers?
Yeah, Andy looked at me when I said that.
Butthole?
The Butthole Surfers.
Not just butt surfers.
That's
butthole
Butthole Surfers.
Andy looked at me like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Are you surprised I knew all this, Andy?
Oh,
No.
Jeff hit all the nails on the head. He didn't miss
That's
one
right.
of them.
The Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
I have never heard a single song from the Butthole Surfers.
You probably never will. The second rank of curse, and you really ain't probably missing much to me. I was never a big punk rock guy.
What about like Nirvana? I know Nirvana's not punk rock, but did you like Nirvana? Did you like that scene in the 90s?
Yeah.
Everybody liked Nirvana.
Hey, Jam, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, and Chris Cornell, all those guys.
Yeah. Nirvana probably had as much to do with changing the hair bands and the glam band stuff as anybody did.
When we were in Washington, we went to the bridge. It's just a bridge, but we went to the bridge that he lived under for a while, and it's like a shrine. It's like a
the people next door are not
shrine.
appreciative of it.
Yeah, the people that live next door to that bridge, they don't like that bridge because I guess people come to their door like, "Hey, did you know Kurt Cobain? Did you know he was going to commit suicide? Did you know?" And like they blame them like he was here when he was a fucking teenager, and then he went off to Seattle to start Nirvana. He was just a guy living under a bridge.
You know what's interesting is that his influence, I just realized it traveled really deeply outside of his genre. So there's a new country Appalachian musician. His name's Tyler Childers.
Yes,
Childers.
Tyler Childers.
He's awesome, man. And there's a couple songs by him, Feathered Indians, and there's another one. And if you listen to that song, close your eyes, you'd swear you were listening to Nirvana.
Notes to the Grindstone. Have you heard that one?
I've heard that one. I mean, I love the guy. I think he's killer.
Somebody we're friends with knows him.
Charleston Girl, he does. Charleston Girl is exactly a Nirvana jam.
I don't know if
without a doubt. My wife even picked it up, and she's a musician. She goes, "Sounds like Nirvana."
I don't know if I've heard
so,
Charleston.
Like that style that Kurt Cobain brought through in that Portland, Oregon thing, or Seattle, made its way into country music, that vibes made it all the way through. He carried on for a long time and influenced a lot of musicians.
You need to listen to Nose to the Grind. So he does it acoustically, and it's phenomenal. It's just him.
He's killed.
And the voice on him is something else. He's actually, I just saw, so mainstream won't pick him up for whatever reason. And I just saw that his album went gold or platinum or something. And like, he doesn't ever get any play on mainstream. Country music picks him up. No rock and roll picks him up. I don't know. But I mean, it's just his fans are the only thing that he's touched a fan base, and he's not relied on radio plays because they don't play his music.
I think one of the best country
in the game.
One of the best country songs ever, I think, is Jamie Johnson's "In Color." You've heard that song? I'm sure it's a great song. But anyways,
I a couple times, crazy good.
He kicked off some DJs in Omaha. Was doing a concert this weekend, and some DJs went on there. And he said, "You don't even play my fucking music. Get off my stage."
Oh wow!
And kicked him off the stage. He said, "You don't play my music, so don't come up here." And I think that was Luke Bryan type music, guys.
A lot of those guys we're talking about right now were influenced by Neil Young.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, grunge for sure.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I mean, Neil Young's the godfather of grunge for sure.
Really?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Lee, you're a big Bob Dylan fan, I'm assuming?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Songwriter, him and John Prine. Yep.
John Prine. Boy, I haven't heard that name in a long time at all.
With those, I consider those two the best songwriters of all time. Yeah.
What all did John Prine write? Now I got to look up what John Prine wrote.
Even Dylan thinks John Prine's the best songwriter. He even said it.
John Prine.
I listened to a song on my playlist. I found a song I hadn't listened to in years, and I don't even know if you've ever heard this song. Gary P. Nunn. I'm going to go back to the Armadillos. Talks about going over to London. It's a Texas song. It's every area has certain music that they do. Texas, we had a lot of country music. David Allan Coe, when I was in high school and college, was a huge person we listened to all the time. Mainstream didn't cover him much, but we all loved him.
Well, you know why mainstream did. You've heard some of those songs.
Yeah, he's a racist fucker, but
oh my word!
But boy, he's talented as hell.
Oh yeah, dude, he was hell for sure.
His song "Come to Boston," I love that song. Very, very talented, but yeah, he was an outlaw biker. There was a motorcycle gang outside of Wichita Falls called the Scorpions, and they had a rendezvous one time, and he played there. And he was big. He had 3 tour buses, and he played in front of at a big motorcycle rally. And I'm talking outlaw motorcycle gangs, not guys just putting leathers on, the real deal guys. And he was right there playing music with them. But that was his crowd,
right?
But he was
killer.
But he was
like that.
Very, very talented.
Angel from Montgomery, John Prine wrote.
Yep, there you go.
I Just Want to Dance with You. George Strait sung that.
Yep.
That's the Way the World Go Around. You Never Even Call Me by My Name. David Allan Coe. John Prine wrote that one. Love Is on a Roll by Don Williams. I don't know that one.
Don Williams was another great artist that nobody knows about that's young anymore.
Listen to John Prine. Listen to his first album. That's Prine.
I'll have to do that because I grew up listening to him with my grandfather because it was John Prine and who's the black guy? Charlie Pride. Charlie Pride is my grandfather. Those are my grandfather's 2 favorite artists of all time.
So how is sales? Are y'all just blowing it through the roof right now?
Yes.
I bet the people in the shop are just like, fucking pump the brakes a little bit.
You know what? They're not.
Really?
They love it. We started to bring people from the shop out on the road with us so they could see what it was like. And we had Lisa and Brittany with us this past weekend at Game Fair. They've never been out of the shop. They've just been nose to the grindstone all the time. And now they see it, and it's like, it energizes them, and they know what we're doing. They get the message. They hear people come up to the booth, and they're talking boss narratives, and it's pretty fun. We plan on bringing everybody on the road with us. We want everybody to see people in person.
Well, they get to, like you said, they form a relationship with the customers, and then they don't just become John Smith from Arizona. Like John Smith has a face and a name, and I know a little bit about him, and let's give them a good product. Let's give them our best.
Yep.
A lot of them might not. Some of them aren't hunters, and some of them have just been in four walls inside a boss, and they hear our narrative and what to how to handle a customer and what we do and how to pack a box. But to take them outside and see what a presence we make at a show and how many people come up and share stories of how Boss changed their game and how it brought them back to the old times, or how they bought this old gun out, or just they go back with a new fire in their belly, and that's contagious, and it spreads around the shop, and it really is great for everybody.
Yeah. Are you gonna bring out the guy that's been to all the Dead concerts? Is he gonna be at a show?
We'll get Mikey out someday. Yeah, for sure.
We got to get him when he's not playing music on the weekend. He actually plays music with my wife, and they play 2 or 3 shows a week. So
how many Dead shows has he been to?
Hopefully we.
What's the count? What's his count on how many Dead shows he's been to?
3,
just about 4.
385 or something like that.
That's just Grateful Dead and Dead and Company.
So then I asked him one day, I was in the shop, and I'm like, dude, and he goes, well, would you like to see the ticket stubs and stuff like that? I'm like, man, I'd love to, because I love the art, right? Well, he brings in a plastic tub, and it's full.
Dead tickets.
Full. Oh, Dead ticket. It's unbelievable. And then the art is killer.
Yeah,
right?
You can watch that generationally too. Like the first company, and then it went to Ticketmaster, and Ticketmaster sold it to somebody. So you've got this like 80s vibe on some of the ticket stubs, the 70s vibe. So you can watch like history progress through ticket stubs. It's pretty cool.
Have you had Mikey on yet?
No.
Oh, dude. If you ever you will, just get him on. He's good. But ask him concert stories, and he'll tell you about how pissed off. You remember the group Cream,
yes.
right?
That was Clapton.
Okay,
first
so
band, wasn't it?
Yeah, Clapton and Bruce and Ginger Baker, and they reunited to do a Cream tour, and it was when Ticketmaster had just started that nonsense where they gobbled up all the tickets, and then we had to buy them on the secondary market. Well, ask Mikey how he got screwed out of that concert if you want to see somebody get pissed off. I mean, it's fun. Oh, God, way good. But, yeah, he's fantastic, too. I mean, that Boss, we have a lot of characters there at Boss.
You do. Sure. I mean, from the Tiger King's tattoo artist to the Deadheads. So, in your...
the Tiger King guy, my man, Dirk.
He sure can. So,
we got
some news, buddy.
We got some cool news for you, too. Meg's back at the
Meg's back.
Oh, Meg's back.
We lost you again. I guess the phone got hot.
We lost you again. I hope the phone didn't get hot. Son of a bitch. Hold on. We lost you. I don't know what's going on here.
There you are. Are you there now? We lost you for a little bit. So
okay.
Meg is back. Meg is back.
Meg's
back with us. Well, she will be soon.
That's
awesome.
Killer.
Does her old job know that she's coming over yet, or are they learning this tonight also?
I'm not sure or whatever, but man, are we stoked to have her back too? So
good for everybody.
Can cut that part out or maybe we just let it ride, and that'll be the way that they find out.
They're not watching.
Nobody watches this, but I want to know, Lee, from your professional opinion, where was art the greatest on like these Dead tickets? Was it in the 70s?
Yeah, the early stuff. Yeah,
the early stuff. What was it? What was it?
I think, like when you're looking at any kind of art, whether it's who's performing or the artist doing or whatever, when you look at their early work, that's who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
Then some of them can maintain that for decades, and some can't. But if you want to know what they're like, you just look at their early work.
Look at the early stuff. Because I see all these, the paintings and stuff like that from the 70s, and you get this vibe that I don't think that you get with any other generation.
Right. Well, they had a message back then, right?
They had some good influences,
right?
Yeah.
all the songwriters came from that era. You had Vietnam; they were fighting that. There was social injustice. I mean, they all had a story back then. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, music in the 70s and the late 60s.
Even just art in general
was a story. What's the song about the dude jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge?
Was it Jeannie C. Riley that did that?
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of the song. Ode to Billy Joe or some shit. I can't remember what. But
yep.
When I was a kid, I remember that song and I remember everything about it and seeing this guy jump off a bridge and committing suicide, blah, blah. But all music had a story back then. The Harper Valley BTA was kind of a cheesy song, but it was a big hit. But every song had a message. Fortunate Son. I mean, everything. Today's music, I don't know what the hell there's even any words of anything today.
Right. Well, I think
there's some out there.
I think there is some out there. I certainly think the original rap stuff had a major story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, big time. I mean, they were trying to tell a story for sure.
Rap destroyed punk rock.
What did?
Rap.
Oh, rap did?
Rap took on a lot of the punk rock guys because the punk rock kind of had this FU message to the state and to the police and to the stiff people of the world. It was all kind of angst. And that was from the 70s and 80s. And then when the, Public Enemy and stuff came out with Fuck the Police and all this kind of like aggressive against the state, leave us alone, we're going to do our thing. A lot of punk rock people moved over because in that same 80s time is when like Green Day and the soft punk stuff was coming out and we weren't buying it. So rap had a big influence as much as we might not see it, man. There was some serious angst and messages being delivered through that the early stuff, right?
How old are you, Dirk?
I'll be 50 in a couple days. 50 years old,
so
buddy.
You didn't listen to Rapper's Delight then. You were too young for that.
Oh, I know that song, but that was the original.
That was about the original as you can get.
Yeah, and then what's her name? Blondie pulled off of that and did that song.
But that makes a lot of sense, though. Like you said, everybody was kind of pissed off, and then rap comes along, and then it was just kind of this natural conversion. The punk rock crowd just kind of naturally fell into what they were saying, and
that's
because it died and became mainstream. So you had like Green Day and all this soft shit that was being played on the radios.
I watched a docuseries the other night. I forgot all about it. I watched it one night and I got busy and I hadn't watched it since. I need to watch the rest of it. It's about a guy that was partners with Jay-Z, and he was a DJ in New York. Who am I talking? He's a Mexican kid or Puerto Rican kid. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a new docuseries out right now, and I can't remember if it's on Netflix, HBO Max, or what it is, but it's about a guy, and he started, and he was he would spin records, and he went to the park and would spin records, and if you didn't do it, they was going to beat your ass if you weren't very good, and he started doing that. His name was, I think, was Manny maybe, but he's famous, but him and Jay-Z were partners, and he toured Europe with Jay-Z, and he did all the music produced and stuff for Jay-Z when he first started coming out. But it's
called Made in America.
What's the guy's name?
That's 2013. Why am I not getting?
This is brand new, and I can't remember what it is, but it's a very good series. Just like I like the one on what's the big fat dude that got shot? Biggie.
Oh, Papa.
Biggie Smalls. I like the NW, which I'm a big Snoop Dogg fan, anyways. But I like the stories of how they got around. The NWA was a really cool story.
Oh, I think it's fascinating, compelling. I do too.
There's
the music isn't my bag, but I find their story compelling.
Yeah,
I do.
I recently.
Hey, I got to fact check one thing, Jeff. You were going back to Ode to Billy Joe. That's Bobby Gentry, and Harper Valley PTA. That's Jeannie C. Riley.
Okay. But both of those told a story.
Yeah.
And music today, most of it does not. You just don't get it like you used to. I mean, it used to be a story on every big song. It was a story back then. Just about it seemed like.
There's a show that you'll need to watch on Netflix. It's the 99 Woodstock.
Oh, I just watched it. My wife and I watched it a few days ago. It's
3 episodes.
Awesome.
It's fantastic. I mean,
what is it?
It was about the 1999 Woodstock that they did.
Yeah.
And it was a total shit show. They ended up burning the place down, and there was riots.
Wasn't there a scam?
Well, they were price gouging. They were price gouging everybody there. So like there
that wasn't the one that was a big scam like the Firefly Festival or whatever.
That's what maybe that's what.
No, this was the 1999. So what? 25 years ago.
It was a shit show.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I wasn't there, man. I remember wanting to be there. I really wanted to be the one in '96, right? That was the reunion one. I wanted to be at that one, but then I had a son in '97. So when '99 came, that one I wasn't looking forward to going to. And I'm sure glad I didn't go because that looked like a mess.
Well, look, it was dangerous. I mean,
we've got a friend that was there.
We do.
Dan Reese.
That when Limp Bizkit took the stage on day 3 and everybody was all angst up and he came out and said, I know you got problems with your family. I know you got problems with your boss. And he just fired that group up until the whole damn audience exploded and tore everything down. No, I'm not really into that sort of ensuing violence, but you're talking about being able to move, 50,000 people. That dude did it.
250, 250,000 people were there.
That moment that he was on stage and he lit that crowd up was one of the best moments in rock and roll, even though it's not my style, but he moved a crowd like I've never seen a crowd get moved. Holy crap, was that
He
cool.
said he could see from the stage as the sound, because, sound travels at a certain rate.
Ooh, yeah.
But he said as the sound traveled across 250,000 people, it was like a wave of hands going up. And he said you could tell when his voice was hitting a certain section because they just all stand up. It's crazy. It's crazy what music will make people do.
I've got a guy that's going to be at the booth this weekend that's coming up there, Dan Reese. It's very active on our Facebook stuff. He was there. He told his parents they were going to their fishing their cabin to go fishing, and him and his buddies went and he was at Woodstock 99 because he messaged me. That music video show I'm talking about is Murder Inc., the story of Irv Gotti.
Okay.
And,
Murder. Man, I haven't watched
it's very good. It's on BET though. I don't know how the hell I watched it because I usually don't watch BET. But anyways, I watched part of it, and I need to watch the rest of it. It's a very good series. But it's interesting to how kids go from being poor and get a break in any kind of entertainment industry, and they just become wealthy as could be real fast right off the bat. I mean, just amazing the fine line between, because there's so many talented people that never get a break in their life.
Yeah,
you can go to any dive bar in America, and you can find somebody somewhere. Nashville, Tennessee, you can find somebody that's as talented as any of the stars that never ever gets a break in life.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? You think it's just making the right connections, or what is it? What is it that sets people over the top?
No, it's exposure and the right connections. So my wife played the Nashville thing and the Austin, Texas thing, and she did all that for years. And so there was Live Nation that sells tickets and stuff. So their game is they bought all the it may not, don't get me 100% on that, but I believe it was Live Nation bought all these defunct radio stations that were closing out along the country because they weren't manning them anymore and they're just recording. So now what they did, they buy all of them. So they've got thousands of record stations, and if they want their person on the top of the charts, that's by plays on radio. So let's say if it plays in Chicago, you get 10 points. If it plays in Little Stevensville, Michigan, where we're at, it gets 1 point. So all these points add up to put you on the line. And so we learned that to be on the top, all they do is the record producer says play her or him in every station for 3 weeks, and they own the market. So it's a driven market by the record companies and the radio stations. They can put Andy Shaver on #1 in 2 weeks without a song.
Yeah,
it's a decision made from the top down. So now what we're able to do in the past 10 years is musicians are able to promote themselves through social media, and that's like your Tyler Childers and stuff. Those guys aren't having to go through the normal channels, and they're finding large markets. So when my wife was playing, she was part of that kind of Live Nation bring up for a minute, but didn't play the game really well or want to play the game really well. She was just wanting to play music. But we learned that that's exactly how that was. And there was one of these girl musicians at the time. She was, I can't remember the name, or I would call her out on it, one of the tops. she was going to be number one a following week. So she flew her family down into Nashville to celebrate a week later. And that night she went out in town in Nashville and was seen out drinking with another producer. And within 3 days, she was out of the top 10.
Wow.
And she had a family home. True story. I've tried to see my wife. She would tell me who it is. It was one of the big female singers that are out there right now. But she was scheduled for a number one. So Live Nation and those big companies can put you at the top or take you to the ground overnight.
Based off of what producer that you're out having dinner with the night before.
Yeah, you better be with the right one and not get seen taking pictures with the wrong one. And all they do is just pump it through unmanned radio stations and get your numbers up. And then only takes a couple days.
That's crazy.
Play you 10 a day and 1,000 record stations across the country. And 2 days later, you're number one. It could take anybody. They could take me or you. The Andy Dirk song is going out and we'll be number one if we had the right person pulling the strings. And that's there's shitty music out there.
But now, like you said, with social media, the way with as big as it is, you have an opportunity to build an organic audience like Tyler Childers did, and just but you got to play the game right. You gotta have social media savviness.
All that kind of like Appalachian country out of Kentucky from Benjamin Todd, the Tyler Childers, all those guys. They're just crushing it through social media.
Yeah.
Just think though, that's been going on forever because the guy that owns Sun Records, Sam, what the hell's his name? Anyways, he was peddling Elvis Presley's albums out of the back of his trunk of his car to DJs to get him to get played. And they went from that to 2 months later, Elvis is the number one pop star in America.
Right. That's where we learned all that. Morgan played and recorded at Sun Studios. Her guitar player when she played down there was Dolly Parton's stage guitarist.
Okay.
So when she was in Nashville, we learned all that stuff from a couple people on the inside really, really quickly.
Have you seen the picture floating around of Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson smoking weed in the golf cart?
Yeah, it's about as good as
I
it
laughed
gets.
so hard when I saw that because she come across as the pure American girl that did wrong, and here she is in 1975 smoking weed with Willie.
Wait a minute, what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Not, I'm just saying, but back then it was socially not acceptable like it is now.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, no, that's hilarious.
And she was this all-American girl, and she's just getting down.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, you know, she just had to loosen up a little bit. So,
or Dolly for that matter.
Or Dolly, yeah, who wouldn't want to do that?
To smoke weed with Willie or Dolly? I'd
do it.
Yeah, 100%. Just have him come in here. I don't know. Willie might scare me. He might take me into another dimension I'm afraid to go to.
Oh, I think he'd be a blast to talk to.
Who wouldn't? The stories he has, the people that he touched lives with, and just, I mean, one of my favorite musicians ever was Waylon Jennings, and I would love to ask about him and Waylon.
Well, you know that Outlaw album. That's him and Waylon and Jesse Coulter and Tom Paul. That's the first country album that ever went a million, sold a million copies.
Didn't he morning at Sturgis? He did church at Sturgis Sunday morning this year.
I heard that, yeah.
He played Sturgis this year, Sunday morning. They called it Church with Willie.
That's what he did at Woodstock also at 99. Yeah. He did that too.
My wife said, he was old in 99.
Yeah, Willie Nelson's been old since 1973. I wonder how old is he? Is he 90?
Oh man, let me check here right now. I'll look.
He is an old. He's been around a long time.
It's got to be the
look at the people he's spanned with from back when he first started to the people he's collaborated with lately. Because didn't he do? How old is he?
89.
Because he collaborated with, he's done all the new music guys. I think Kenny Chesney and him sung something together, and him and Snoop Dogg. I mean, and then you go all the way back in the day, and he was playing with Porter Wagner and Buddy Holly and all them guys. It's right. Awesome, and he's a great songwriter too. He's a better songwriter than he is singer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
probably.
He doesn't really have a voice that'll blow you away. He just plays very, very well. He's got a unique voice.
Think about how many great musicians there are out there that have a shitty voice. Yeah. Lots of them.
He's one of them.
I mean, really, like even Tyler Childers probably could be classified as that. Now, I think he's got a unique voice, but is it the best?
Yeah, he's killed. He does. But I mean, guys like, that we were talking about, like Neil Young, his was horrible. Bob Dylan's is absolutely horrible.
Dylan was an awful singer.
Let's see. John Prine didn't have a good voice. You can go back in the day, like Louis Armstrong when he was playing, right? Louis Armstrong couldn't. He terrible voice. It doesn't matter. That's really not what it's about.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the experience.
Yeah, it isn't what it's.
Yeah. It's all the experience.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears here. Talk a little bit of hunting. Have y'all seen any reports out of the North Dakota season? Do you know anybody that was out there and sweated their nuts off? And
yes. Yeah, you mean duck numbers in North Dakota?
No, hunters. They had this early August season in North Dakota.
Oh, you'll hear about. I haven't, but I've been up here quite honestly on the island since in between weekends here. But we'll hear when we get back because, like a bunch of our guys have been out there, but I'm sure it's always good. I mean, what is that limit out there in North Dakota? Is it like 15 or something?
I don't know. It's something crazy. I don't know that I could get excited about that. It's too hot.
Trevor Austin just posted a picture on Instagram of them shooting a bunch of geese this morning. The guys at Pacific. Yeah. I don't know where they're at or something. It may be on his Facebook, but anyways, it had them slamming some birds. We have teal in Texas now. I told Andy we were going to, and I've had 3 or 4 people send me pictures of teal in North Texas right now. I'm assuming with this front we're having, we're going to be 81 degrees. It's supposed to be our high tomorrow. And we're going to be in the 70s Monday and Tuesday. We're going to see an early migration, it's looking like, of some birds. So I'm assuming if it's that way, y'all are going to get a push up there from Canada probably.
Should. I mean, usually in the, middle to end of August, I start seeing blue wings show up on the farm and me in Minnesota. And they hang around for, 10 days or so, and they pull out and they're gone. But yeah, I don't know though. That, I think you get a little cool stretch, and I think we just get all jacked up and hope we start seeing birds. But I kind of think everything pretty much evens itself out.
The calendar is the calendar.
You know what?
The calendar is the calendar, and it's going to be the same every year, pretty close to it.
Or I think so. Unless you factor in 3 or 4 decades, and then if you ask me that, no, it's way different than it was 3 or 4 decades ago.
Very true. I think the early teal season, they could make the limit 10 to 15 birds per man per day, and it wouldn't make any difference on the birds because 90% of those blue-winged teal are going to end up in Mexico or South America by middle of September anyways, October. And they don't even get hunted.
Right.
What's the situation at headquarters? Do we got a lot of shells right now? How's the supply looking?
We're great right now. I mean, we're good right now, but if your guys are listening, I mean, no guarantees, in 30 days it might start getting weird again.
But the forecast looks better than the last 2 years then.
I'd say yes, for sure. I could get in trouble for saying that, but I'd say yes.
Well, if you run out, that's great. That means you sold out.
Good problem to have.
Good season to have.
Oh, dude, and then I follow analytics daily, and it really is. It's on fire. And it's so fun at Game Fair to see customers come up that are happy that say, your shells literally changed the game for us, changed the way we hunt. Keep doing what you're doing. And they love the narrative, and they love the less cripples or less lost birds due to crippling, and they love smaller shot sizes, and just really, really
every
fun.
Old person that hunts with me now, when I say old, I'm going to say 65 and older, and because that's an old person. I'm 55 or fixing to be, so I'm going to be that way before long too. So anybody that's old that gets offended by this, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just being honest. Those men like to shoot 20 gauges now again, or 28 gauge, or a 410. They can start shooting the smaller gauges. It's not as hard on them, and it only takes one shell to kill something. That's what I tell guys all the time. It just takes one, because they'll be like, well, those are more expensive. Well, if you buy something else and you have to shoot 3 times to kill one bird other than one, it's cheaper to shoot it, is what it is.
Right. You'll be with us this weekend,
yes,
right?
We'll be up there Friday.
times you hear that one thing come up where, like, let's say it's a cost thing, right? And how easy it is to talk to them when I say, well, what are you normally shooting right now? And I said, my guess is it's probably a 3-inch BB or a 3-inch 2. And they're like, yep, exactly. And I said, you ever cripple one on the water? And they go, oh, yeah, of course. I said, well, what happens next? And they'll actually tell it to you. And I said, how many times have you shot? Boom, 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 1, 2, 3. And they're like, oh, yeah, at least or more. And I'm like, okay, well, start adding that up.
That's right.
And I'm like, I'll bet if you kept a record at the end of the year, you'll, first of all, the number one benefit clearly that you're going to see right off the bat is less lost birds due to crippling, right? Then you're, along with that is far, far fewer follow-up shots. Okay, so in the long run, it becomes less expensive to shoot boss, right? And the consumer experience is far better. So it's a win, all the way around.
The shell's just the cheapest part of your hunt.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Right.
The dog, the boat, the truck, the travel, the blinds, the decoys, the gun. Shit, shells cost as much as breakfast.
Yeah.
That's no shit, especially today.
Gas is up there. Gas is like number one now. 2 years ago, shit, you didn't feel it at the pump. Now it's like, ooh, fuck. Do I need groceries or do I need to go fill up my gas tank?
It's hard to believe that someone would balk on something as important as the actual shells, because that's the most important thing. Because if you're shooting shit at them, that's what you're going to have is nothing. So you might as well be using using a good ammunition, and it just does not make sense to shoot something inferior when you don't have to. Especially when you talk about most duck limits are going to be is a 6 bird limit, I think everywhere, 5 or 6 birds. If you shoot boss and you're a good shot, you don't need but 15 shells anyways.
Correct.
That's right. So it's not that expensive.
No, you do the math. It's almost crazy to argue it, but you also got to keep in mind that we've been dealing with a false narrative for a little over 3 decades, right? So it takes a while to reverse that, but it's happening. Well, look at even all the bosses competition now in the bismuth game. I mean, theirs isn't plated and it's not made like ours is, but they have one, and they have one because of boss and the narratives that we talk about, and they can see it changing, right? I mean, even some of them are using even our language a little bit,
and your money bag,
and so it's changing. It's doing it. We're changing it. It's fun to see.
So, when do you head up to Canada? When's that going to take place? Late October?
I'll go the first time in like mid to third week of September and hang out there for a while. Bring the dogs up there. I'll go alone there and then meet some dudes up there. Zach will be up there from Boss and a few other people. And then I'll go back in mid-October or maybe to late October, and then hopefully a little bit in early November and rip around there alone.
Dirk, are you staying south of the border this year?
I think I might go up there with Zach this year.
Oh, that'll be...
It's my first Canada trip. But I think Zach and I are going to live up there together if all works out.
Oh, killer.
And
we've been talking about it.
Y'all are coming to Texas to see us sometime this winter, aren't you?
That's what Brandon says.
Yeah. Good deal.
We'll get to do it in person then.
Lee, you
littles or cranes?
Probably cranes and some specks and maybe some littles.
We'll see what's here.
Both.
You ruined me on tomato sandwiches. I've been eating tomato sandwiches since we left St. Louis, and it's hard to hell. It's been hard as hell this year. Nobody's making tomatoes hardly this year here in their gardens because it was so hot, and it's just not the same without garden tomatoes.
No. Don't even attempt it without a fresh, big, fat garden tomato. Don't even attempt it.
But when I come back from them, we have tomato sandwiches here every day almost, and every once in a while I'll get a good one.
We'll do it. We'll do it at Game Fair this weekend. I'll bring some big tomatoes and mayo and salt and pepper and some shitty white bread.
I'm telling you, that's what I asked for. I told Michelle, I said, try to get some shitty white bread. She goes, what is shitty white bread? She goes, I buy Wonder. I said, well, that's good white bread. That'll work.
That's shitty white bread. That's the one.
That's the one. That's the one. So when do y'all head back to Game Fair? Y'all leaving tomorrow or Friday?
I'm heading down there tonight.
Dirk's going down later today. We're going to make some ceviche up here with some fresh walleye and then do a fish fry and then get Dirk and Mo on the road. And then I'll drive down tomorrow and start getting things together. We've got a couple pallets of shells showing up. We have shells at Game Fair this year, and that's really fun having shells. So
now,
and we sold out of them last weekend. So we ordered a couple more pallets that are going to get shipped up, and Luke's going to bring them over there, I think, Thursday. And then we'll get that stuff set up and ready to go at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock on Friday.
We're going to be there. We land at 10:30, I think, Friday is what time we land. And we're leaving at...
You got a ride
Do
over?
what?
You have a ride over?
Brandon said y'all would come pick us up. If not, I can Uber.
I'll come.
Yeah, we can get you.
I'll come and get you.
I'll give you my flight and our flight and everything. We're on the early flight.
Yeah, no. We'd love to come pick you up.
Are you guys renting a house?
We're staying with y'all at Rogers.
Ramsey.
Or Ramsey.
Oh,
Ramsey. Rogers, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
That's where we'll be.
Yep. A lot of industry people will be there. They'll love to see you there. They'd love that.
That'd be great. This will be my first Game Fair experience, so I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. First family of waterfowling.
That's right.
I just happened to have my shirt on this morning when Lee said, come on, we're going on the podcast.
It looks good on you, too.
I was cooking pancakes.
You were. I saw you. You're just throwing down in the kitchen.
Abercrombie and Fitch, they got washboard abs. We got Dirk.
We got Dirk. I'll take Dirk.
True.
I'll take Dirk every day of the week.
Me too.
You got anything else for him, Jeff? We're gonna let him go. They got ceviche to make and
I want to ask you about Minnesota ceviche. I'm a ceviche guy. It's my favorite meal. How do you make it up there? Because some places, the East Coast, do not eat ceviche. That shit they have is not ceviche. How do you make it in Minnesota?
Okay, so I take a walleye, right? Clean it up good, and then let it sit in cold water for a while in the fridge, and then cube it up, put it in a bowl, add fresh lime, fresh lemon to it, let it sit in there covered, cook it. The citrus cooks it, right? Get ready, then get cilantro and jalapeno and red onion and little cucumber, salt, pepper. Put all that together, then cut up avocado, and then add that avocado at the very end. Then mix it up, and you're good to go.
God.
Put it on.
Like
I'm coming to the Kjos Island one day to eat that because that is real ceviche. I had a guy make it for us from California last year, Devin, and it was damn good. He used bluefin and made it. But that's about the same recipe. They had fucking squash and shit in the stuff on the East Coast. I was so disappointed.
Nope.
No.
I was so disappointed. But that's good ceviche right there. You eating it with chips or with crackers?
Chips.
Donkey chips.
Donkey chips, if you
I don't know
have
what the hell a
What are
donkey chip
donkey
is.
chips.
They're the best.
The big, thick tortilla chip.
They're the best.
Oh.
Donkey chips are best.
I like it with saltine crackers, but boy, that shit's good. Chips or crackers, but crackers are my favorite. Well, that's some good stuff. A little hot sauce on it. Woo!
There you go.
Jeff's ready for some ceviche.
Hell
now.
yeah! I'm like, damn, that's gonna be good. Tomato sandwiches and ceviche. I move in with Lee.
Some Steve's hot sauce that's made up here. I should bring to the show.
Steve's hot sauce. I've never heard of that.
I'll see if I have some unopened bottles here.
Now, have you
stuff.
had Louisiana hot sauce?
Fuck it.
I don't think so. So if you have something that you need to turn me on, bring it to Game Fair. I'll bring.
I'm
you
gonna
some.
try to find a bottle of Cajun Chef Louisiana hot sauce, which is my favorite. It's a vinegar hot sauce. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's
I'd love it.
special, man. They put it on everything down there. They even fry their fish. When they take their fish, they'll dredge it in that before they'll put the dry stuff on it. And they put it on it, and your fish come out red, and then they'll fry it.
Turkey's up north. We did it this year. I did the same thing.
Hey, you talked about turkey. You brought it up. I saw the turkey hatch this year was dog shit. Dog shit. On top of an already bad year from last year. I don't know what the hell we're going to have.
Oh, you my farm in Minnesota that years ago, I mean, I would consider the turkey hunting that I had there just about as good as you could get anywhere. And now there's none.
That's crazy.
I mean, maybe this whole spring I may have seen 2 times the whole spring, and that was around mid-May when I saw my first birds there. And then, I started asking people, I'm like, what the hell's going on? Because on our farm, we'd usually winter around 150 right around that area. And now there was like this year, I didn't see any. And then I started poking my nose around, asking people questions. And they thought that maybe I heard that maybe one of the farmers poisoned them.
Right.
Or something, because it got to be maybe a nuisance or something like that. But I don't know, dude. I hear it from everybody. Everybody's worried about them.
Yeah, it's terrible. So I'm looking, this was an article, and it's on Facebook, so who knows what it is. 2021 in Missouri, about 75% of nests failed due to predation of the nest, and then 8% failed due to predators on the incubating clutch. 2022, it said they fitted 28 hens with GPS trackers, and it says predators took 1 nest, 2 nests failed due to predators. But anyway, out of the 28, none of them raised any young.
I saw Oklahoma had
only 9 even attempted to have a first nest, and all those were lost.
Oklahoma, that none of the first nests made it. The second nest, one of the study I saw, they had 9 hens tried to have them. Only 3 were successful with any poults. And then out of the 3 that had poults, one of them, all the poults died, and the other one had 3 and one had 2 or something. So, and I mean, it's just, we're talking, if this continues, we're talking getting to endangered species before long in some places. And then you talk to somebody that's in northern Michigan, and they said there's tons of turkeys.
Yeah.
I've got tons of them at home.
I don't think. Do you think it's possible it's pesticide, herbicide related?
I think it's something that nobody saw coming, because it is fallen off a cliff everywhere, and I think it's something that farmers were spraying. That's the only logical explanation that I can think of, because
we just in one of our papers here a couple of days ago, Rush Creek in southern Minnesota is like a really, really good brown trout stream. They just had a 2,500 fish die off from one of those, pesticide or herbicide, I don't know, but ag runoff. Yeah. Right. So now they're trying to go back and they're trying to figure out, they're talking to the landowners and like, just what are you putting on here? What's going on? And that's also our best turkey country down there. And I think that if you asked me, and it's just a guess, and I'm not trying to be a shit stirrer here or anything, but I think that's where you got to look right there.
I think so too, because the deal with the predators, well, and we're talking about before trapping, back in the Indian days, they didn't trap that much fur. There wasn't nowhere to sell it when they were just using it for their own goods and stuff. So there was turkeys then. The turkey would have been wiped out and extinct years and years and years ago if it would have just been because of predators.
Right.
And we had turkeys then. Mm-hmm. So it has to be something, because right now they're blaming it on, it's because nobody's trapping fur right now. Well, the turkey survived before man was here when nobody was trapping. So it's got to be something
for a long time.
It's something man-made has caused this.
I also wonder if there's like an alpha toxin in the bags of corn or something that people are putting out on their deer feeders and stuff like that. I wonder if some turkeys have gotten a hold of some corn that was tainted.
I think it's something like that, because the drop, I can say, in my area has been rapid.
Yes, here also.
Me and Tony went and looked at a new ranch last week on a place that we had leased 20 years ago that we had turkeys all over it. I mean, all kinds of turkeys. I didn't see a turkey on the place. 2,000 acres. And used to see turkeys. We used to have 3 or 4 flocks there. And the guy told me, he said, I got turkeys everywhere. We didn't see any. Well, he did have turkeys 18 months ago all over the place.
Yeah.
And he, if you don't hunt turkeys and you don't think about it, you don't notice you're not seeing them no more, because you're just like, they're probably somewhere else. Well, turkeys ain't there like they used to be.
Yeah.
And
they're gone.
Yep.
tell you that.
It's going to be a crazy day. Well, Lee, Dirk, I look forward to hanging out with you guys again. We will see you on Friday morning sometime. Everybody that's going to Game Fair, come by and see us boys at the Boss
booth.
Yep, at the Jeff Stanfield Express bus.
The new bus.
We're looking forward to seeing you guys up there. And if you need anything from Texas, Jeff will keister it and bring it up there for you guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Shoot me a text message on when you get picked up. I'll see you at the airport.
All right, see you, bud. Thank you.
That'll work.
Take care.
Bye,
God
guys.
bless y'all.
See you.
Bye. Great guys.
The best.
I've got to figure out how I'm going to take this Cajun chef up there because they won't let you get on
You're
the
gonna
plane
have
with
to
liquid.
fucking keister it, Jeff.
They won't let you get liquid on there.
When you started talking about that, I was like, well,
I just now thought about that.
maybe he knows something that I don't.
I'm going to get him to give me his address. I'm going to ship some up there. I'm going to buy some here in a minute.
There you go. But yeah, you started spouting off, and I was like,
Well, I don't mind taking some up there.
he's gonna take that plane ride with a bottle of hot sauce up his ass.
I'm checking it in. I can't check it in because we're not checking
checking
bags
luggage.
on. That's right.
Right.
So,
Right. You opened a whole can of worms, and we can't bring any of that Stevens hot sauce back with us. We got to eat it all while we're there.
oh, that's right.
So, first world problems. I'm excited, though. This will be my first game fair, so.
It's a good time. Well, it was 28 years. Me and Mom were there. Page 23, 24, 25 years ago was the last time that me and Mom went.
Right. Somebody was at my front door. That's why I had to leave. I didn't know who it was. Evidently, it's a tree trimmer.
You getting your trees trimmed?
Apparently so.
I just had mine done the other day.
Apparently so. How much did you pay? Did you have it professionally done?
Yes.
We'll talk off air about the quote that I just got.
All right.
I don't want to pay it. I mean, I don't want to do it myself, so
I've got a guy for you.
leans me to paying it. But
all right. Thank you. Y'all come by and see us at Game Fair. Most all of our sponsors will be there. We will be bouncing back and forth between booths. We look forward to seeing you. It's going to be nice and cool up there. Be a good time to get out. So if you're around the Twin Cities area, come see us. Dane Romeheld, if you listen to this, come see us. We'd like to see you, bud. We ain't seen you in a long time. Take care of y'all. God bless y'all. Goodbye.
goodbye. Check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Boss Shot Shells. Get those shotgun shells headed to you. Check out Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Gundog Outdoors, Shin Gear Waders, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Dirty Duck Coffee, Ducks Unlimited, and Double T British Kennels.